Hey, Heather.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Great. Okay, everybody, we're waiting just a few minutes to make sure that we have everybody with us. We have one person who's still trying to join us. Okay, everyone. Well, it's a few minutes after 7. Looks like everybody has joined us from the waiting room. So we'll go ahead and get started tonight. Welcome to our Future 42 Parent Night. My name is Heather Yoakum, and I am the campus director at JCTC, the Carrollton campus. Tonight, we have teamed with Chad Rose and Rachel Mefford from the Area Technology Center to offer a Future 42 Parent Night to discuss our Future 42 programs, and then also get you connected with local employers who are looking for graduates who have these degrees. We are recording tonight's session so that students can view that at a later date if they weren't able to join us this evening. Sarah Clifton, if you'll give a really quick wave, will be manning the chat bar for us. And so if you have any questions, put them there. She'll ask that question and then then she'll share those with us when the time is right throughout these presentations. So first off, we want to talk to you a little bit about JCTC, the Carrollton campus, and our Future 42 programs. So we are located at 1607 Highway 227. We are in a $16 million building that we will be in for the 4th year this year. And we used to be in a former department store over 100 years old. And a few years ago, Jefferson is part of KCTCS. The state said that they would fund one project for each of the 16 KCTCS colleges. And for Jefferson, that was the Carrollton campus. So the deal was that that project would happen if our community or our region would raise 25% of the overall cost. And that was about $4 million. And so our region, Carroll, Trimble, Gallatin, Henry, Oldham counties, Owen, all raised $4 million in less than 6 months. We were the first group to raise all that money, and we were the first group to break ground. And so I think when we are talking today about Future 42, I hope that you know that there is a lot of buy-in from our business and industry for students to get their education at the Carrollton campus. And we are very much promoting that work here, live here, learn here. So our local industries want local students like yourself to get an education and then come back to live and work, or come and live and work in this area. So that's huge for us. So out of that $16 million building, really one of our shining stars, or our shining star, is this technical program. And those 3 technical programs include the engineering electronics technology, applied process technologies, and welding. And in that lab space, we have over $2 million worth of equipment. Okay, and those programs are run by Bob Nance, who's with us tonight, and he'll go into his program a little bit more. Donnie Tiller with Applied Process Technologies, and Lindsay Gilbert. So those programs are high demand, high wage programs. Most students will work in the field while they're going to school. It's about 2 years to 2.5 years, depending on how many credit hours you take. We work on a block schedule so that students are able to be in the work so that they're working. And most industries want those students to work 3 days a week. I know that with the engineering electronics technology program, at one point in time, I think the job placement rate was in the high 90s. Industries are wanting to hire you if you have a willingness to learn, good work ethic, and you finish this degree. So a lot of our students are working in the field while they're going to school, a lot of hands-on experience, and then these programs are paid for through a Kentucky Work Ready Scholarship. And that pays up to 15 credit hours for both the fall and spring semester. It doesn't include the summer. And then we have a local consortium scholarship. That consortium scholarship is made up of all of our industry and Future 42 partners, and they can also help offset cost if you're pursuing one of those degree programs. Obviously, if our industry partners are putting money into that pot to help for students to go to school, then they very much want you to come work for them too. So a lot of those local industries then are trying to pick you up as an intern or co-op while you're in school. So lots of students are able to graduate 2 years or less, making between $55,000 and $70,000 a year with a 2-year degree, very little to no student loan debt at all. We like to share the story about Jordan Reardon. He's actually working at Dow. His brother started out at Purdue University, and at the time it was about $30,000 a year for tuition. Jordan decided he wanted to complete the program with Jefferson, was able to work while he was going to school, was a scholarship recipient with the consortium group. And Jordan started out making more money than his brother did with his degree from Purdue. The other piece of that is that our local industries are panicked, right? Because pre-pandemic, we were told that about half of the workforce plan to retire in the next 2 to 7 years. And so local industries are panicked because they have 20 to 30 years of knowledge going out the door, right? And so things are a lot different than they used to be years ago. And this degree is so important to get into the workforce. So it's a win-win for our students because it's a short-term program. You have the ability to go to school and work and get that hands-on experience, and then opportunities for upon graduation to get full-time employment. So we are very excited to go into more detail with our industry partners and our instructors about each of those programs. That is my spiel in regards to the Carrollton campus, ways to pay, and just a little bit about Future 42. Sarah, do we have any questions from the chat? I don't see. Okay. And the other thing I realized is that I'm mentioning Future 42, and you might not know where that comes from. So Future 42, Jefferson, PR, and the local industries got together about 2 years ago. And we had this 4-hour work group meeting, and we talked about how can we work together as partners, and what are your needs as industries? And they said, we need more employees. We need more people in the pipeline. And so we had this big discussion about what that looks like. And from that was born Future 42. The industry partners you'll see tonight include PMC, Dow, LG&E KU, North American Stainless. Nucor could not be with us tonight, but they are a Future 42 partner. They are all located on Highway 42, which is where the Future 42 came from, because it is our future to get more students in the pipeline for these advanced manufacturing careers. So that's a little bit about Future 42. And as you'll see, Miss Lindsay Gilbert has her logo on today with her polo. Okay. If there aren't any other questions in regards to my spiel, then I'm going to hand it over to our tech, I call them the tech dream team, but our technical or advanced manufacturing instructors under Future 42. I will go in alphabetical order. So Bob, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Well, thank you, Heather. Just a quick touch on some of the things that Heather said about how we like to train here and work here and everything along them lines. I'm one of those students that done that. Started off first at a young age, went into the military, came out of the military, and basically went to work as a pack mule. I was strong. I could lift anything, carry anything, do all that stuff, but there's not much of a future in that. Got a wise idea to go back to college, being Jefferson, and went through the ELT program and studied to become basically an electronics major technician. Went out into the field, had an internship at what they call Nucor Gallatin. Now, back then it was Gallatin Steel. Worked as an intern while I was going to school. Had a military deployment right square in the middle of it. Came back, went back to school, finished my schooling up, and got hired full time. And spent several years out in the industry before coming back and teaching at Jefferson. With that being said, I like to think I know what some of the industries want when it comes to maintenance technicians, and that's how I teach. I have outcomes that I have to accomplish in the classroom, but I also understand what the world wants when it comes to technicians. So we incorporate that a lot into the classroom. It's not, let's just sit down and read a book. The whole program, the whole tech side, like she said, spent over $2 million on equipment. Well, most of that's over in my program. When we first built the campus, I submitted a budget, I think, of $1.3 million for all the equipment we got. And we have everything from hydraulic trainers, pneumatic troubleshooters, PLCs, both your big players when it comes to that, robots, motor control trainers. And we spend an equal amount of time in the labs as we do out in the classroom learning about it. So, and then the students love taking that. We just had a meeting where one of the guys said that they enjoy the fact that we're teaching troubleshooting in the classroom, and they're able to go out into industry and see that it's being shown there, and the students are able to work along them lines and keep going. So another thing that Heather said, kind of shifting gears a little bit, is a 90+% hire rate. Yes, I have industry all the time needing employees, interns, co-ops, full-time employees. They're constantly hiring, always hiring. So if you come and apply yourself, chances are high, not a guarantee, that we can get you into some kind of job when you graduate. Once again, debt-free. College degree, a lot of the training you'll need out in the field, and now you'll have industry training as well. That's a pretty good chance of getting out in the real world and making a lot for yourself. Then also comes the thing, after you've worked out in the real world for a little while in field, you got your degree and everything, I'm constantly needing people to help me teach. The program is growing at such a fast rate, I can't teach all the classes required to keep pumping out the number of students or workers that I can without additional help. So we're constantly reaching out to previous students who have done good in the program and trying to talk them in a part-time basis to come back and helping us teach. With that happening, they're constantly bringing fresh material from out in the field back into the classroom to teach the new group of students going back out into the field. So it's constantly a working wheel to show the industry how serious we are to get them the qualified and trained maintenance guys that they need all the time. So I think that about does me on time. I'm not going to go too awful crazy with it.
Well, and Bob, just really quickly. So one way that in my terms, because yes, this is not my everyday world, but one way that I always describe to students the program is that if you are a gamer, this might be a good program, because part of what you're doing is looking at multiple screens and you're seeing how the system is working, the equipment, the machinery, and then if it breaks down, you know how to fix it. Can you very quickly maybe talk a little bit about what students can expect in your program?
Absolutely.
What that looks like as far as
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to get your hands dirty. There's going to be days, depending on what industry you're working in, where you'll sit behind an operations panel and you'll watch the movement of the process to see what's failing or where it's failing at. PLCs teaches us a lot. When we troubleshoot, we do a lot of that. We'll watch the process and go, okay, here's where we're having an issue. So then we're going to take what knowledge we have with the failed process on the computer screen out into the floor, where we'll look to see what kind of sensor went bad. So we're going to incorporate a lot of different knowledges at one time. You'll have to watch that screen to see what's going on. You're going to have to go out and troubleshoot. You're going to have to figure out, this is what's happening here, so it's going to make this happen here. It is a lot like a big video game. It really truly is. You can watch 15 monitors at one time, or you and 3 guys watch a bunch of them at one time, trying to see where the process fails at, so you can go out there and efficiently and effectively fix the issue to keep the company up and going, which essentially keeps your paycheck, or keeps you in a paycheck, I should say.
Okay, perfect. Anything else, Bob, before we move on?
No,
to
ma'am.
Applied Process Technologies? Okay, great. Well, Donnie Tiller, I'll hand it over to you with Applied Process Technologies.
Thank you, ma'am. The Applied Process Technologies Department is the operations side of the petrochemical, chemical, and power plant industry. So a lot of people don't understand the program that well, because a lot of people don't understand about operations. They just think a lot of times you get hired on by companies, you just do the job and it's over with. But companies now need people that have the ability to troubleshoot, to be able to tell what departments they're going to need to call in. What I hear a lot from industry is a lot of these people coming in now really can't troubleshoot what's going on. So what happens is they're calling in either mechanics or instrument techs when they don't need them because the proper troubleshooting hadn't been done. And that's what we teach. So what the operations really is the Swiss Army knife of the corporation. We have to know a little bit about mechanical. We have to know a little bit about electrical, a little bit about instrumentation, a little bit about analytical. And all those things is what we teach in the program so that when they go into industry, go in these plants, they are able to help the plant run as efficient and productive as possible. It's not just a job, it is a job that's very rewarding. I personally worked for Dow Corning for 30 years and for Dow Performance Silicones for a year and a half in operations and enjoyed every year I was there. So it's a fun and exciting area really to where there's never the same thing day to day. There's always something different going on. You actually will be walking through the processes, checking on pumps, on valves, listening to what's going on in the process to be able to tell what is happening. You also will be running the processes actually on a video screen. Heather mentioned gamers before. I guess we are the ultimate gamers on the operations side because you are literally running the process on these screens. So it's a great opportunity. And in our labs, we have a lot of hands-on equipment to be able to learn how to do this troubleshooting. I always tell the kids it's a methodology on how you learn to troubleshoot and what you're doing in these processes. The biggest thing that I do teach and stress in every single class is safety. I don't think people understand that up and down this river is potential for a lot of problems if anything goes wrong. If a valve is turned the wrong way, product sent to the wrong tank, it could cause a lot of problems. I was on a community action committee once where we actually went out and was talking about this. If something were to happen at Dow to one of our big tanks, it would affect a 5-mile radius from our plant, which takes out Carrollton, Gent, BV, river traffic, interstate traffic. And all of this lays on the hands of the operators. So we teach a lot of safety, get these guys to the point to where they're understanding the importance of what they do, that it's just not going to affect them, it could affect the community also. So it's a great program. Really, my program complements Bob's and Lindsay's to help really make the plant run as efficient as possible by talking to these different departments. It's really fun. If anybody's interested in it, it's a fun job. Normally, you're going to be working swing shift, but you also have the ability to make over $100,000 a year after 3 years in the process. So great opportunity to make a lot of good money and really enjoy it. What I always tell the kids coming into the program, swing shift is fantastic when you're young because there's nobody on the golf courses, there's nobody at the store, there's nobody to bother you in the middle of the week. But when you get old, the swing shift starts to hurt a little bit. And that's one reason why I retired. The night shift is starting to hurt pretty bad. But it's a fantastic opportunity to learn a lot of stuff. Also, I'd like to add, when you're in production or in operations, you get to see everything that's going on. You get to see the instrument techs, get to see the maintenance guys, get to see the planners, the engineers. And if you decide that you want to move into something like that, you're in a perfect position to do it because you can go to school while you're working swing shift, learn a different trade, and the company usually will help pay for that and get you to where you want to be. So again, it's Applied Process Technologies. I always tease everybody, it's the greatest program at Jefferson. So that's all you have to ask for when you walk in the door.
And thank you, Donnie. Just in case you didn't realize, Bob and Donnie have a little competition between who gets in the program. So I think Donnie had to say that. Something else for our students and parents. Of course, parents probably understand this a little bit better, but when you hear, we have students who are not even the legal drinking age who are making between, you know, $75,000 and $100,000 a year. That's huge. Like, I am almost 38 years old. I have 2 degrees, and I've been in the workforce for close to 15 years. I don't make that type of money. So it's something that to really think about, that you can be making this type of money, 2-year degree, getting into the workforce very quickly, and there are ways to pay for it. So I will keep inserting that as we're talking today, and I'm sure our industry partners will too, but that is huge. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to Lindsay Gilbert with Welding. Lindsay?
Good evening. So a little bit about what the program looks like. We teach stick welding, MIG welding, and TIG welding, or shielded metal arc welding, gas metal arc welding, and gas tungsten arc welding. However you're used to hearing it, if you are someone who's heard it before. We teach cutting processes, so oxyacetylene, plasma cutting, a little bit of CNC table. And we do blueprint reading, which is really, really fun. We're doing a little bit of that right now. For those of you who don't know, stick welding is a manual process you'll see a lot around industry, especially in maintenance. TIG welding is also a manual process, and the lab will do mild steel and aluminum. And then MIG welding is a semi-automatic process that we'll be doing. You see more of that in manufacturing. Little bit about how this program works. You start off in the basic class. So you'll be doing fillet welds. If you're doing stick welding, we'll use 2 different rods. MIG welding will all be on mild steel, and then even in the basic TIG welding class, we'll be doing steel and aluminum. After you've completed those courses, you'll move on to the advanced version of that, where we introduce groove welds. And then after that, you can certify through the Department of Highways and Bridges in stick and MIG welding on steel up to unlimited thickness. So you do have kind of an end goal there. The unique thing about my program is that it kind of feeds into the engineering electronics side and the APT side. So we do have students who end up taking both of those programs, or either of those programs rather, and then do take welding classes. So if you're someone who's interested in kind of 2 things, this is a good bridge program for that. So you can do what's called the GOTS degree, or you can just do your technical electives in welding. I'm a product of Jefferson, so I've been through this program before. So I do teach the way I was taught, but I also teach the way that I was not taught. You learn things as you kind of move throughout life and move throughout industry, exactly what you missed. So being able to fill in those gaps is an important part of my teaching philosophy. The big part about my program is that I will teach troubleshooting. That's the basis for everything we do in the classroom. So we use what we call the 6 essential welding variables to be able to figure out, okay, what's wrong with this weld? What's right with this weld? What do I need to fix? What do I need to fix on my machine in order to make sure that everything is sound? It's a really great program, I have to say. I think it's a little bit more fun than APT, Donnie, but who am I to make that assessment, I guess. That's my spiel.
Great, Lindsay. Perfect. Yep, they're a little competitive, that group, but we like it. Okay. So any other questions? I don't see anything in the chat. Right now, it looks like we're good. Okay, perfect. Well, we're going to hand it over to our industry partners, and I'm just moving around the room based on views here. Dan, do you mind to go first with PMC?
I can go without a problem. All right. I don't know if you guys can see me or not. Can you, is it good on the screen? Okay. I want to apologize if I have some outside disturbance, because my friend here she's happy now that we're that we're in the chair and we're ready to rock. Hey, I'm gonna actually add on to what a couple of you said. What's interesting about today's world, the guys and gals that are actually getting into their careers and worrying about being in college debt. That's probably one of the first things I want to touch on, and then I'll get into about what we do. I have 5 kids. One of them just graduated from the University of Bellarmine and just recently went into the Army. And not to downgrade, but when you choose a degree in a university like that, you can be up to 6 figures in debt, which that happens. You go through one of these programs, you don't realize the money you can make, like you were saying, is incredible. And and again, what Donnie was saying, you can make anywhere close to $75,000 to $100,000 coming out of a 2-year applied process technology degree and be debt free. If you could look ahead in your crystal ball in your life and know what that means to you in your career is unbelievable. With that being said, and that's the first thing that I had that hit mine, we are, again, like everybody else, we're located on Highway 42. We're actually the first company right past the high school and actually the elementary school, Pmc Organometallics. We're kind of an older plant. We've been there since 1958. We've changed names a lot of times. So anytime you drive by us, there's been a name change. It's been the last PMC for the last 10 to 12, I think it's almost 12 years now, which is good. It's family owned, which is really good. A lot of money is being poured back into the company. One of the things that we do, like Donnie was also saying, is we make a variety of chemicals. We don't make any end products that you would see on the shelves. We make stuff, the additives that go into anytime you see aluminum siding on a house, the stuff that actually makes that hard, we do that. PVC pipe, we make the hardening chemical that goes into that. Pesticides, anytime you see a wine bottle or a beer bottle, it's the hardening that goes into the glass. So a lot of kind of interesting, weird things, but we don't make end products, but it's never dull. One good thing that I did also, I wrote down in my notes, a lot of the plants are swing shift. We are not. If you get hired at PMC, you'll most likely be on second shift, but it's 3 days on, 3 days off, 12-hour shifts, which is nice because every 3 days you got a 3-day break. And again, everybody kind of gets used to the system you're on. Swing shift is tough. I will totally grant it that. If you don't get used to being on day shift or night shift, but at PMC, you will become directly into actually second shift. The second note that I took from you guys when you were talking about being needing employees, this will probably blow you away. I have to put on my glasses here. We have 46 people that are currently in our plant that are age 60 or above. So that's 46 people that are probably going to be retiring in the next, like you said, 3 to 7 years. So the opportunity at our plant is going to be incredible. With that being said, anybody that would go through, like right now, we literally just posted our chemical operators. We're needing 5 right now. We posted on Indeed, usually kind of our hotbed that we use for people to use. And we get anywhere between 150 or 200 applications. A lot of people want to come to work at PMC, which is good. It's a good problem to have. But with that being said, if anybody has gone through the Applied Process Technology program and they have that little piece of paper that says they're qualified, I'm going to tell you right now, your name will most likely jump to that pile of 150 or 200 applicants because you have gone through Donnie's training at JCTC. You already are basically have your feet wet to be a chemical operator. We hire people that have worked at drugstores, at Walmart or whatever. If they have good work ethic and they haven't jumped jobs, and we've given them a chance. Now, if you go and get your 2-year degree at JCTC for Applied Process Technology, you do not realize what an advantage you have coming to work with us. Because again, when we're going through resumes, you are literally going to be one of the top candidates for us to look at. So, and I'm not getting paid by JCTC to say this. We are literally being serious that you are, I can't stress it enough, the advantage you have of having this degree to come in, because again, some of these people have never had any manufacturing experience, B, don't know the first thing about being a chemical operator. And again, if you've got that, again, you're going to be clearly bumped to the top of the list to look at. And the competition, like I said, is extremely high. We have anywhere, like I said, 150 to 200 applications for 5 spots. That's a lot. So we have to really go through the applications a lot, look at them. But again, we've had truck drivers, we've had you name it that have got on at PMC. So again, think of the advantage you have. I talked about our 5 chemical operator positions we have open. We have 2 maintenance mechanic positions open. And we actually have 2 engineers. positions open. But directly for this program here, we have literally 5 chemical operators ready to go and be hired within the next month and a half. And I don't know too many places, Southern Indiana or Northern Kentucky, where you can make close to $85,000, $90,000 within the first 3 years, and that's without overtime. And Donnie wasn't kidding when he says you can make $100,000 with just a little bit of overtime at PMC. My wife keeps telling me, why don't I hire her? She's a teacher. She's been a teacher for 20 years and makes $60,000. So it's like she wants to become a chemical operator. So again, the interest of coming to work for one of these companies throughout Highway 42 is extremely high. And as you heard, I have literally 46 people probably retiring in the next 3 to 5 years. So I'm hoping to hear from Donnie saying, here's my list of graduates I got coming your way. And the first thing I'm going to say to him is make sure that they got an application filled out with that applied process technology on there. And again, they're going to be very, very valuable and high commodity when it comes to hiring. That's my spiel.
Well, Dan, that was a good one. I like that. You started us off well. So, okay, perfect. Okay, moving along the screen, we will move on to Don Light, and he is with Dow and oversees the apprenticeship program. Don? Okay, I'm not sure. We can't hear Don right now. Sarah, do you mind to see if you can message Don just to check in with him very quickly? Maybe you can provide some help. And I will move on to Khadidra with LG&E KU to let us know a little bit about her opportunities there.
Thanks, Heather. My name is Khadidra Bowie, and I'm with LG&E and KU, Louisville Gas and Electric, and Kentucky Utilities. And so I manage the craft worker internship program that we have. And so it's an amazing program that we have for students to go to school and get their degree and also get that hands-on experience, apply what they're learning in the classrooms to those real life situations at the plants or at the operation centers that we have throughout the state. And so we welcome students that have the engineering and electronics technology major, the applied process technology, the welding, and all sorts of majors. But those are the primary majors that come across for the students that we have in our internship program. And as for the internship programs that we have, they range from instrument and electrical technicians, mechanical maintenance. We've had a couple of students that are in the ELC program that have been a part of a laboratory technician program that we've had. Operations, plant operations, maintenance are just some of the programs that we have for students to be a part of the internship program. And as Heather had mentioned earlier, really a lot of these managers, they're looking for students that are willing to learn, that have good work ethic, that want to be out there, they want to learn, they want to be with the company for an extended period of time. And we want to give that experience to them. We want to share all of the knowledge that the more senior employees, the things that they have gained over the years, they're wanting to share that information to this next generation. So they're definitely wanting to work with students around their schedules, make sure they have time to study and make sure that they get through their degree program so that when full-time opportunities come up, that they're eligible to participate and apply for those programs and hopefully be a part of the company as a full-time employee. As for the internship opportunities that we have, there's something that we post opportunities kind of year round. It doesn't apply to a certain semester or students in a certain part of their degree program. We like to have students that have been through a semester or so, but you certainly don't have to. We really are just looking to get you in and train you and have you for as long as we possibly can to give you the most experience that we possibly can. And as for the shifts that we have, it's going to depend on the internship that you have. If you're in something like plant operations, as they mentioned, swing shift might be something that you'll work as a full-time employee. Whereas if you work in something like mechanical maintenance or instrument electrical maintenance, then you'll work Monday through Friday with an occasional weekend, something like that. Just going to vary from position to position. And then very similar to what Dan had mentioned, with you going to school, getting that associate's degree, when you're applying for these opportunities, it's going to send you to the top of the list as you're applying for these opportunities, because I mean, we'll receive so many applicants for some of these different positions out there. And what really makes you stand out? If you have that degree, we see that you have that piece of paper, it's going to do leaps and bounds for you. So definitely complete your program, do a good job in school. That's something that's very important as well. And you'll just see the opportunities just come through for you in ways you can't even imagine. So that's mostly the spiel that I have.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Again, lots of opportunities, and it's so good to have everybody on one call today to talk about those. Okay, next we'll move on to Lisa Morris with North American Stainless.
Hello, can you hear me, Heather? Okay, so it's great to meet all of you out there. So I have a couple things because I serve multiple resources for JCTC. I do help with the Future 42 in various ways with that. And then I also am the president this year and secretary of the Consortium Scholarship. And so I do want to talk about that. All of you are interested in these degrees. There is a full paid scholarship. If you meet the qualifications, you apply, and then you have to keep certain GPA and your end of the requirements to keep that scholarship. But there is a full paid scholarship that JCTC has, and you may want to look into that if you're interested in a position on the Future 42 highway. So with that, I think Lisa can comment maybe later, or Heather, scholarship applications and when they're due. But on to, I used to be a parent of a student, Bobby Wilson, who went to, did the program at JCTC and co-opt at Kentucky Utilities. He paid for one semester of school and the rest of it was all on scholarship. So I cherish that because I did not have that as a student. I'm still paying student loans to this day. And so it's really important, I think, that students look into those options. It gives them a credibility, accountability. It pushes them hard, and then the co-op programs are wonderful because it gives them a leg up on somebody that didn't have a co-op program. I hear so many times in our facility when we're looking at resumes that if they don't have a co-op, well, they don't have any experience. I'd rather interview this one that has a co-op. So look at that. Think about that, parents, as you're going forward. So I work for North American Stainless. Many of you all know the big blue building down 42. We're the largest integrated stainless steel manufacturer in the US. Some people don't know that. We're also the largest recycler in the state of Kentucky. We bring in recycled metals off the waterways. We melt them down with an electric arc furnace. We're one of Kentucky Utilities' largest customers. So with that, we're always looking for opportunities with electrical maintenance, mechanical maintenance, and our operations. We don't require a degree for our operations positions, but we do look at GPA and things like that. But I would highly always recommend that students go and get a degree. We have phenomenal benefits. Pay is up there where everybody was talking. we really look at, for electrical, the applied technologies degree, the 2-year degree, and then we do also have co-oping positions with those that come along. So thank you, Heather.
Yes, thank you so much, Lisa. Lisa Stephan, is there anything you want to add here while we check to see how Mr. Light's doing? You're on mute, Miss Lisa.
Sorry about that. So yes, I would encourage any of the students to that are interested in the Consortium scholarship to go and visit the Future 42 website. Heather has posted that in the chat, and we've also shared that out with all the high school counselors, including the Chad Rose has that information as well. But you can also email me if you have any additional questions. But once you go onto the website, I would recommend that you look at the website and explore the different programs that are offered under the scholarship, under the Future 42 website, and then go in, complete your application, upload the required documents, and then at that point, I will email you and provide you with the scholarship guidelines, and then ask for a student aid report from your FAFSA, and that will be given to the consortium treasurer so that she can kind of ballpark how many students the consortium can fund based on the amount of funds that are in the account. And then I will also ask the student for a polished resume. Hopefully next year, we can tweak the website a little bit so that all that information can be requested in one location. But we had to get, sometimes progress takes a few steps. So that's where we're at this year. And then next year, we'll make it more fine-tuned and polished. But if you have any questions, I will enter my email in the chat over here, so that students and parents, you will have it. But also, I would like to mention this because I see several students on here that I recognize, some of them from the carpentry class. I think some of them are from welding, different pathways at the CCATC. One of the things that we didn't talk too much about, but Lindsay hit upon, is the General Occupational Technical Studies program, also known as GOTS. Jefferson has customized 2 programs, one for Dow, which is called the Millwright program, and one for NAS, which is their mechanical program. And each of them are sending students to us to pursue a degree for their maintenance needs under the General Occupational Technical Studies. So if you have taken carpentry classes with Mr. Mason at the CCATC, or welding courses with Ms. Moore, then I highly, if you don't want to seek a degree in those particular areas, I highly encourage you to select the General Occupational Technical Studies degree on the consortium scholarship, and we can customize a degree with the courses that you've already taken at the Area Technology Center, to which will very much shorten your time in completing your degree. So please reach out to me if you have any more questions, and I'll be glad to answer those questions.
Okay, so we've sent Lisa's email address. Yes, she did it too in the chat bar. Mr. Light.
Anybody hear me?
Yay, we got you. Okay. Okay, last but not least, yes, if you want to give your spiel about Dow and the apprenticeship program.
I mean, 9 base
So it's cutting out just a little bit. Sometimes when that happens, I have to turn my camera off, and that helps with the audio. I don't know if that's something that you can do for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not so sure that I can improve earlier about operations. My name is Don Long. I'm apprenticeship leader for
West Virginia operations in South Charleston, West Virginia. Also Knoxville, Knoxville, Tennessee. And in the interim for Carrollton, as we all know, Brad retired in December. Brad Beecraft retired in December. So I'm filling in for Brad until we get a new apprenticeship leader for Carrollton. If you guys can hear me, I'll continue to go on. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. So I've been with Dow Chemical for 33 years. I spent 4 years in the military. I have a background in electronics. Come out of the military, I went to work for Union Carbide. Union Carbide merged in 2001 with Dow Chemical. And so I've been with the company, like I said, going on 34 years. Actually, I was an operator, a process technician myself for 23 years. Moved into management. And then in 2018, like Brad Beecraft, we both started the apprenticeship programs. He started in Carroll, Kentucky. I started it here in West Virginia. The apprenticeship program, basically, the program is, like others mentioned earlier, we have the demographics has changed to the point where we have an aging workforce. Industry hasn't really done hiring in years. And so a lot of the folks are getting up in age. And so this program, actually, it recruits, it hires, it brings folks in. And what we're basically doing is trying to prepare people to be the next generation of process technicians, process operators for the company, for Dow Chemical. The program pays for, if you're hired, the program pays for full tuition, books. You're provided a laptop computer. You're guaranteed a 40-hour-a-week salary while we're paying for you to go to school. So while you're going to school, we have you in the plants for on-the-job training. The program is registered with the Department of Labor. So, while you're working to get your 2-year degree in process technology, you're also getting the valuable on-the-job training that you really need in the plants. And so the goal is, after obtaining your degree, that you've moved far enough along in your training that when a position becomes available, we move you into a full-time position in one of our processing units with our companies. Learning about Carrollton, like I said, I've only kind of taken over late December, but the program, Brad's done a great job. I know he works closely with Donnie. This is, I think, the 4th year of the program. Typically, I think Brad, on average, brings in maybe 6 to 8 to 9 people a year into the program. I'm thinking this year the goal is to bring in 9 or 10 apprentices into the program. They will go to the college, they'll get their degree, they'll earn a salary, and like other people mentioned earlier, you're basically looking at being 19 years old, 20 years old, and making anywhere between $75,000 and $100,000 a year. Tell you what, I had 2 apprentices that were 19 years old that I hired my first year. I hired them as 18 years old out of college. When they were 19 years old, they called me and asked me to come over to the parking lot. They both went out the night before, and both of them were driving a brand new BMW at 19 years old. So they kind of put me to shame. I had to up my game also. But the potential is there to earn crazy money. And like someone mentioned earlier, no student debt. There's a benefit package that comes with the Dow Apprenticeship Program: paid holidays, vacations, sick days. After 1 year access, if you would like to open up a 401k account with the company, and also medical insurance. So it's a wonderful program. these type of jobs are hard to come by. And so it's a great opportunity for anybody that would be interested. Pretty much all I have on that.
Okay, that's great. Well, students and parents, tonight you've heard a little bit about Future 42, the Carrollton campus, these advanced manufacturing programs, industries that are wanting students like yourself to join them as an employee. What questions do you have for us? We'll give it just another minute or two. I know it's been a long session, a long week, probably day, a year, right?
Heather, could I just jump in and just talk
Absolutely.
to our students for just a second?
Sure.
For any of our students that are on here, and first of all, Heather and everybody else, thank you so much for putting this together and doing the hard work to make this thing happen. You know, we would have liked for all of our students to have been here tonight. The weather unfortunately hasn't cooperated very well, but so we're gonna make sure that our students see this, because when I hear you guys talk about, you know, 2 to 7 years, all of these retirees coming out of industry, I just feel like every time I see that, I want to put my war paint on, and I'm like ready to go to battle with you guys to try to fill these positions and make sure our students get as many of them as possible. And so students, I just want to talk to you guys for a minute and just tell you, like, these are real opportunities. This is not a gimmick. This is not a trick. You know, it's the real deal, and these jobs are real, and these, you know, the positions that are going to be open in the next 2 to 7 years could set you guys up for truly fulfilling and rewarding careers, you know, not just financially. And so I just want you guys to really just consider this and to really take this serious and to take your studies serious at CCATC, and then move on to JCTC and get that 2-year degree. And, you know, going forward, let's sit down, you and I, and let's hash out a plan on how you're going to get there. Because I know that you guys can get there. It's just a matter of you having the drive to do so. So thanks again, everybody. I really appreciate everyone's time.
Yes, thank you. Again, I've mentioned that we are very much promoting this work here, live here, learn here. As you'll see that we have staff members, faculty members who have worked in the industry, are products of Jefferson, very much committed to our community. And we know that our industries are giving monies to our school system and to us as a college. And we really want to make sure that we're supporting them by getting more students in the pipeline for these career choices. We are right at that hour mark, and so we know that there will probably be some questions in regards to admissions, test scores, things of that nature. So I think just for the sake of time that I'll plan to send that to everyone on the email list on the cert that I had received from the Microsoft Teams form, just so that we lay that all out. I'll make sure Mr. Rose is copied on that with the ATC, so he has that information and kind of can talk through that process with you. And of course, we are here as Carrollton employees to help you for sure too. Any other questions, comments, concerns, anything that we need to add before we conclude our Future 42 Parent Night?
Hey, Heather, I just want to add, I know John was kind of cutting in and out. If any of the students have questions about the VAL program or the KU program, they're more than welcome to give me a call or email.
Okay, great, Donnie, thank you. Also, that Future 42 website we gave you does provide at the very bottom a link to our virtual tour. Please check that out so you can see the lab space. We can host in-person tours with a lot of COVID restrictions. So of course, if that's something that you want, we can look into that, but definitely check out the virtual tour as well. I am so proud of our partnership with Carroll County High School and the Area Technology Center. I am also proud of our partnership with local industries. We would not be here without them, and just very hopeful for our future 42 students and getting more students in the pipeline. Thank you all so very much. Please reach out with questions and I will follow up via email with next steps. Good night, everyone. Take care, stay safe and healthy.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you all.